We're not here to talk about me. Why don't you answer that?
Bad days. Well, the thing is, I've had a few too many.
And what do you mean by that?
If you've seen my videos on the early development of the Arkham games, you know that these titles feature exciting content and ideas that never made it into the final product. There are so many ideas that I couldn't include everything in the original uploads, so as a result, I'd like to discuss a few more pieces of lost content that were either left on the cutting room floor or removed from the games entirely. Arguably, one of the most iconic and best elements of Arkham City was its marketing campaign. The game had some of the best promotional material during the early 2000s, featuring a series of black and white posters showcasing the various characters from the game. However, these iconic images could have been much different early on in the game's development. Thank you to the YouTuber Sergeant Skydiver for making me aware of this info. Be sure to subscribe to their channel when you can. According to creative director Gareth Warren's portfolio, early key artwork for Arkham City gave the promotional material a different look, bathing Gotham in a sickly yellow glow, like the city is living in perpetual filth. The aesthetic of the promo material calls back to some early artworks for Arkham City, which invoked a very similar visual style, sickly yellow, concealed in a dreadful fog. However, it's essential to know that early promo material never reflects how the game actually looks. Interestingly, the poster also gives the game a different name, calling it Batman Last Laugh. This may indicate that adding Arkham to the title of every game wasn't always set in stone. It could just be a code name as well, which is likely considering that before the project's announcement, there were several other domains for the game. The Arkham franchise comprises of 5 games in total, and if you include the mobile projects and the handheld games, that makes it 7. However, as we all know, the Arkham series contained a series of titles that never saw the light of day, from full fleshed out releases to handheld titles. Batman Arkham Origins Blackgate is a handheld spin-off. The game is set shortly after the events of the mainline title and focuses on Batman trying to quell a riot at Blackgate Prison. The game has an interesting ending, featuring Joker escaping the prison and Amanda Waller recruiting members of the prison to join her Suicide Squad, with Batman following close behind. All signs point to a sequel for Arkham Origins Blackgate featuring the Suicide Squad and Batman. However, there is an indication that 2 completely separate games would have spun off from this project. There is artwork from the artist Callum Alexander Watt, who posted a series of images for a potential sequel to Arkham Origins Blackgate. The vibrant art depicts Batman battling against Bane on a rooftop, which appears to be Gotham City. Not much can be said about this game. Neither is it possible to piece together the story, but perhaps it would have connected to the end of the first game. If you scroll through Callum's Facebook and Instagram page, you can find artwork created for an unmade DC project. The art dates back to 2012, and as you can see, they feature illustrations of the Suicide Squad, with members like Harley Quinn, Deadshot, Deathstroke, Captain Cold, and Heatwave, with presumably other Suicide Squad members present. Based on the evidence we know about the development of WB Montreal's Unmade Suicide Squad game, I think it's likely that these are early concepts for the project. And if they are, the artwork proves the style of game the developers were going for, a tactical shooter where players had distinct powers and abilities, similar to games like Overwatch. Did you know that in Batman Arkham Knight, originally Robin's kidnapping scene was much different early in development? Originally, you were meant to sort through security footage to find clues on how Robin was kidnapped. However, your broadcast would be interrupted.
Looking for someone. You should know by now that nowhere is safe. The Commissioner was so eager to betray you earlier, when his daughter's life depended on it. And now, I have your Robin, the caged bird. Fascinating that your fears would drive you to lock your closest ally in a prison cell. Now those same fears will make you do as I say. There's a storage depot in Kingston. Go there, alone. Prepare to take off that mask, or your friends will die.
Master Drake, you locked him away. You lied to me.
I didn't have a choice.
I'm sure you had your reasons, sir, but whatever happens, you mustn't give in to Crane's demands, or none of you will make it out alive.
As you all know, Arkham Origins featured a plethora of new combat mechanics that spiced up every encounter. One move that didn't make it into the final game was the push strike, which involved Batman jumping behind an enemy and pushing them towards a certain direction. This is likely a revamped version of the throw from Arkham Asylum, as it essentially served the same purpose. Batman Arkham Asylum didn't have much DLC when it came out, and when it did, a lot of them were strangely exclusive to special pre-order bonuses or console exclusivity.
Let's finish this! Exclusively on PlayStation 3.
The Joker DLC was a perfect example of this, as he was exclusive to the PlayStation 3 version of the game. The character himself, however, was pretty fun to play, possessing unique stealth and combat mechanics. However, did you know that the character was meant to be playable in Batman Arkham Origins? Okay, so I know that's pretty obvious, as Batman Arkham Origins does feature a sequence where you play as the Joker, but strangely, this is the only time you can play as the character in the game, despite the fact that he has a clear, set-in-stone moveset, which makes many wonder if he had a bigger role early on in the game's development, and it seems like according to in-game files, he very much did. One mechanic that demonstrates just how different Joker was from Batman was something called the Free Pass Takedown. During stealth encounters, if Joker were spotted for the first time, it would initiate a unique in-game cutscene where the player character would be surrounded by goons in the area, attempting to interrogate him. After waiting for a bit, one thug would try to hit the player, which if countered on time, would initiate a special takedown animation on every thug surrounding you. This feature sort of reminds me of the Fear multi-takedown from Batman Arkham Knight, making me wonder if they may have taken some influence. Certain gadgets from Asylum did make their way into Origins, such as the gun and the X-ray spectacles. However, now Joker also possessed a variety of brand new gadgets as well. There was the Chattering Teeth gadget, which would lure enemies to an area who would destroy it in annoyance. There was the Pinwheel Firecracker, which would lure thugs to an area. Once they got close, it would release firecrackers to stun them in place. The cool thing about stunned enemies is that the player could perform a stun takedown immediately after, which was supposedly loud, but took them down quickly. The most interesting new gadget in Joker's arsenal was called the Laugh X card. It was a throwable projectile, which when launched at an enemy would cause them to start giggling until they broke out into laughter, attracting other thugs in the area. The thug would shoot at other enemies nearby, and eventually this infected thug would drop dead on the spot. Another cool gadget Joker possessed was the remote bomb, which could be placed on different surfaces, and as thugs approached them, the explosion from the gadget would take them out. The gadget wasn't only used in stealth sequences, as it also made its way into combat mechanics, as Joker would be able to attach the bomb to a thug during combat. Combat in general was said to be more methodical and slow when compared to what Batman could do. Perhaps that's why Joker possessed so many stun-based moves, such as using a gadget called the Pepper Spray Razor Card, allowing players to stun multiple enemies at once for a brief period. Joker also possessed a new maneuver called the Redirect Counter. When you held the counter button, it would allow Joker to grab an enemy and push them in a certain direction, which staggered any enemies in the vicinity. The most interesting elements of Joker's combat mechanics is that his thugs could join in on battles as well. They essentially acted as support and could grab an enemy, allowing the player to use a special grab takedown. It's unclear why Joker was removed from the final game, but he was likely dropped in favor of Deathstroke. It's surprising that the Arkham games still has so much unused content to discuss, with concepts and hidden secrets that are still being uncovered even to this day. And as of right now, I hope to continue sharing them with everyone watching for as long as I can.